Holy shit, The Rock just reposted.
My boy changed comedy twice.
Andrew Schultz is saving comedy.
Netflix is done.
They're not done.
Done.
What are you talking about?
They reach out to you and they're like, we want you to cut a couple jokes out.
The fucking audience is the one that gives me the notes.
What's up, people?
That's the fun thing. You gotta do something crazy.
You gotta come on our back. That's why they call them wetbacks. Now, guys, everybody, we're just getting started, guys. We're just getting started, okay?
Even though you might not be doing illegal shit, you relate on an emotional level to it.
That's the Hollywood secret. That was like the Spielberg, like, make it simple. Even he was a producer on Transformers. All he said was like, it's a story about a kid in his first car. That type of.
That's a Pixar storytelling technique.
Yeah.
It's like every story has to be universal. It has, like, every storyline has to be boiled down to something that every person on the planet can and will experience.
Like, for example, Coco. What is like the baseline?
It's like the loss of family.
Don't
like,
mention that, bro.
Come on.
Come on, bro. You know what that does to me. Third time.
Son. I saw Blue Bayou on a plane.
that shit goes, right?
Motherfucker. That's, the last scene of that movie, the most... Andrew talked about this. You watched this movie on a plane.
I didn't watch it on my screen. Remember, I watched it on the guy next to me's screen. I was fucking bawling, crying.
So I watched it on my screen. Holy
that's
shit.
the next one.
Shouts, I think the director, Justin Chon. I don't want to get his name wrong.
Justin Chon.
I hit him up after. I was like, son, you made a beautiful movie. And he's a fan.
Yeah.
So shouts to him. But fucking amazing movie. Beautiful movie. I don't normally have tears streaming down my face in a movie.
You're weeping.
You're
weeping.
Yeah, I'll eye water all day. But tears, not normally. This movie, be the end, I was crying like this. Like, it was fucking...
Just rocking.
Son, unbelievable.
I'm thinking about Coco right now. So I swear to God, that shit does it to me, bro.
Wait, Akash, as an Indian, did you cry Lion? Did you see Lion?
Yes, I did.
You cried?
But I knew the story already, so I didn't cry as much.
What is Lion?
It's the craziest fucking story, and it's a true story. It's about a kid who is from like a poor part of India and is going to the train station. Somehow gets on a train to fall asleep. He falls asleep on a train. His brother gets killed. He can't find him. Some crazy shit happens, and then he just gets transported to a different part of India. Has no idea where the fuck he is. They speak a different dialect. Ends up in an orphanage. Gets adopted by a family in Australia. Doesn't remember this as he gets older. And then like randomly starts remembering like, oh, I'm from India. I'm from this part of India. And then he goes and tries to find his mom. And it's a fucking amazing story. Dev Patel kills it. He's fucking great. Oh, it's a beautiful movie also. Fuck. He's getting emotional right now.
Yeah, nah. I
Watch it on a plane.
Yeah.
You're
You're
emergency
done.
landing.
You're
Seems
done.
like one industry that's actually worked with nepotism is Bollywood.
Yeah, they don't really seem to allow much else.
Yeah, I guess. But like still the industry is like extremely profitable. Like
Thriving.
everyone loves it. The movies are great. And it's all nepotism.
And why? Why do you think it can function that way?
I don't know. I mean, maybe acting is so easy.
Watch your fucking mouth, dog.
Maybe acting's that easy. Oh, explosion, bus falls over. Boom, it works. You know what I mean?
I swear to God, I'm gonna play Kalhono for you, and you're gonna bawl your fucking eyes out like you're watching Blue Bayou.
No.
Yeah,
Don't do that.
All right, guys, we're gonna take a break for a second because, listen, today's video is sponsored by SeatGeek. And if you didn't know already, SeatGeek is a ticketing app that makes buying tickets super simple. We've got the app on our phones right here, baby. Listen, I'm telling you, it is one place to make buying simple. From sports to concerts to festivals to comedy shows, they're all on SeatGeek.
The weekend in New York this weekend? Hell, you probably had tickets on SeatGeek before.
Absolutely, man. SeatGeek is a great way where you can purchase tickets, especially tickets that are very difficult to get. SeatGeek wants to make sure you're getting a good deal. So when you're on the app, look for the green dots. The green means good deal. Red means not so good. So they got your back with the purchases as well. And listen, don't worry. We've got the hookup. We've got it. Use the code FLAGRANT and you're going to get $20 off tickets at SeatGeek. That's $20 off your first purchase with the promo code FLAGRANT. Now let's get back to the show.
Is there a Bollywood scene that involves a white guy that you and Andrew can interact?
No, the white guys are always like some fucking... They're just terrible characters every time.
Really?
I wouldn't do that to
It's
you.
like Squid Game. It's those mass assholes.
Oh, fuck.
No, they try to speak Hindi. It sounds so bad. It's always brutal.
If you were a white dude that grew up in Delhi, spoke perfect Hindi, could you get cast as like a Bollywood actor? Like, are there any roles for you? If you're like
you ain't related, so no.
With those eyes,
nepotism.
though? With those
fit in.
eyes?
You can have some role. You'd be somebody. side character.
But you're not going to be a lead.
But Veer wasn't related, right? And he was able to do some acting.
Veer got in, and it does happen. He says it's possible, but it just seems like families have such a chokehold on it, and Bollywood is such an integral, like they have a chokehold on entertainment. Movies are like, this is our escape. We go watch the movie, we're done. 3 hours, it's gonna be a fun story. Like they're starting to make more like realistic, gritty kind of shows, and I'm curious to know how India takes it. And to me, I almost look at it as a sign.
What do you mean? Like,
so like India that I grew up with,
escapism.
Yeah, Bollywood
Less
that I grew
Bollywood.
up with was pure escapism. I'm gonna go watch fun, rich people, beautiful colors. India's beautiful colors in general, but like happy stories. It'll be melodramatic, but happy stories because life is hard.
And
The good guy wins at the end. Like,
Yeah, in
hero's
America,
journey. Yeah.
We love the gritty because our life is good. Like, what do we need to escape to?
Oh, so we want to feel something real.
Yeah.
Because we're living in
We're living in a
surreal world.
fucking. This is
Yeah.
we are the 1%.
Yeah.
Whether we like to admit it or not.
Yeah.
You go to a
We
rougher
still
country.
like a hero's journey as well, but I hear what you're saying. There's also an industry for these kind of
Yes.
gritty movies because there are people that need to access those feelings. Where in
Bollywood, that was very rare. I can think
I
of
don't
like
need to feel that shit. I feel it
one or
every
two
day.
movies where the main character died. I'm sure there's more, but growing up, the big ones. And now I'm starting to see more gritty kind of Bollywood movies, and I'm wondering if that's a sign of their economy getting stronger.
Well, it's also
as they're-
Netflix is huge
They've
there,
climbed
so
out of the third world, and now they're like, well, we want to see some of this. There's people who are like, dude, life is good. I want
Let's
to
get
see
a Marley and Me.
I want to
but
see
Bollywood.
reality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You see Miss Marvel?
I haven't seen it yet.
Oh, you should check it out.
I heard they be
really
shitting on India in it, these Pakistanis.
good. I don't know about that, but I mean,
No, but if like
thought it
Disney
was great.
and Netflix are
Abby
coming to
texted
India,
me.
they're not going to compete with Bollywood. They're going to say, okay, what's the method? Let me bring a horror. Let me bring a thriller. Let me bring something a little bit more.
Yeah, Netflix is trying to do Bollywood, like trying to compete with Bollywood, but they're doing it through
Different
like different shows, grittier shows, sadder shows, reality type shit.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's an interesting observation though. Like as a country lifts itself out of destitute poverty, it starts to feel and relate to different things in the art.
Yeah.
Like the art is always a
I
reflection
think
of
Marley and Me should be the test. I said that as a joke. If your country likes Marley and Me, you're first world.
Can you break down Marley and Me to anybody who hasn't seen
Literally, it's like white family. They adopt a dog. The dog gets old. They got to put it down. End of the movie. It's just like we're sad. Our family dog died.
it? It's Old Yeller, but without
Yeah, yeah.
rabies.
Yeah, but Old Yeller's sad because like real life happens. Like nature takes over. The dog's decrepit. It dies. Like this dog just got old. It got lumpy, and they're like, all right, go to sleep forever. Like that's the whole movie. So I think if you're as a country like sad about this, it's like yeah, you're doing pretty good.
Yeah.
Any other country, they're
I
like,
can't believe you've seen Marley and Me and not The Godfather. What the fuck is going on, man?
because I like real movies, bro. I like cinema. Yeah. Because my life is hard. That's what it is. I don't want to watch The Godfather. It's too real. That's every day for me.
That was what flipped the switch with me with Bollywood in terms of liking it, because I was like, it's so like surreal and it's so ridiculous, and then I was like, oh, they want to escape because they don't have my cushy ass life in America. So watch it and don't expect the real shit, the reality, or an action star like flipping over an 18-wheeler. I'm like, that's so fucking stupid.
Right.
It's like, yo, they don't want real. Real sucks.
Yeah.
For so many people over there. So give me escapism, and then I watch it with a different lens, and I was like, oh, we're just having fun. This is great.
Yeah.
But when you go to your place and you're playing like poppy Indian music and you're just like, oh, this is
Yeah, dog.
What would
Transport
Indians think
us.
of Marley and Me? If like you went to Uttar
Son,
Pradesh.
they'd be like, why are you adopting this fucking street dog? You motherfucker gonna take our food, yo. This thing the fuck out of here.
That's my point, bro. Play that movie anywhere. North Korea.
You
they're just
adopt
fucking-
a dog? Shub, did anybody in your family have a dog? Nah, never. Mad street dogs, and you just looked at them like, yo, get the fuck away from our food, yo.
Yeah.
Yo, that's interesting. I'm fascinated by cultures that don't have pets.
Okay.
Like we live in Williamsburg, right next to all these Hasidic Jews. Hasidic Jews don't have pets. I've never seen a Hasidic Jew walking a dog ever in my life. They just don't do it.
And why do you think that is?
I don't know. I don't know what the point is. Like, but I think like in China,
There's
do they
so
have
many
pets?
fucking
to have a
kids
dog.
that they don't want like another thing to look after.
Is that what it is?
I genuinely think that is. Like you're a woman, you have 6 kids by the time you're like 25. Do you really want a dog?
But you got to think there's got to be one woman that has 2 kids and is like, oh yeah, puppy would be nice.
I think they think it'd be nice. I assume they think it'd be nice, but they're like, that's not the focus right
Does
now.
the woman get a say? I'm actually asking.
In what?
In an Orthodox community?
Does it in a say in what? Though?
In like, hey, we're getting a dog.
Outfit?
I
No.
don't want the dog. Yeah.
Yeah.
So is the woman the one being like, oh, I don't want a dog? I think if a man wants a dog, they're getting a dog.
I don't know, Dove.
I'm ignorant asking this question, but
Dove
I'm willing
hates
to
the
ask it.
Hassids more than anybody, so I don't think he'd have a single fucking clue.
Yeah, I think it's like part of the culture not to worship anything other than God.
Muslims often
And it's
don't
like,
have dogs.
Oh, that's interesting. Is it a?
Why are we going out of our way to feed this thing?
Do they have dogs in India? Like, do they have pet?
Now, if you're doing well, you have a dog and you love the fuck out of it. But a lot of people don't. But Muslims often don't have dogs, and it's like a cleanliness thing, I think.
I can see that.
It's like a
I can
cultural
see that
slash
on the
religious
kosher
thing.
thing. You're bringing in stuff from the street.
Yeah. I don't know.
Probably don't like
It is
German
a-
shepherds.
It is a super.
Dobermans aren't really gonna make it in.
Yeah.
It is a super flex though when you think about it.
Yeah.
The idea like we have so much, there's such abundance in this family
Yeah.
that we can take care of an animal. Like
Well, you said that shit a while ago, and I've always thought about it. That like a flex is just waste.
yeah,
Yes.
what? Yeah.
And apparently, this popped up the other day on. I was reading some shit. It was
High
like
ceilings.
Yeah, high ceilings, but also lawns.
I can waste space.
The American lawn.
It's
It's
I
the
have
fact
room
that-
for nothing.
Yeah, literally. No, not even nothing. I have room to not grow food.
Gardens.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, not only is I could grow food. That's interesting as fuck.
I don't even need to grow food. This
Yeah.
land is
There's
just
a
great.
vineyard here.
This
I
is
could have
just-
anything.
Imagine you got a garden, like I'm doing the work, but I'm not growing food. I'm just growing flowers.
Yeah.
I'm just growing
A
flowers.
botanical garden. What a waste. Dude, people from other countries must show up and be like, wait, you can't eat none of this shit? You have a dedicated area to growing things you cannot eat.
It's a food museum.
People pay to come not eat.
To not eat, to
That's
look at things
crazy.
that are growing out of the ground. Yo, flowers are waste.
Yeah.
Flowers are waste.
That's what I try to tell my girl.
That's why they love them. They love anything that's fucking wasteful.
That's the flex for them. they
that
flex
is a-
on their friends. Look, I don't
Oh.
even need this. That's what I waste. Complete waste.
I'm having like high moments right now, but how interesting is that? Like at least a fucking tree generates shade, right? Which is
Oxygen
life or
even.
death.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like also oxygen, but like literally shade in the fucking desert or hot, that is life or death situation. A flower grows 6 inches off the fucking ground, right? It offers no shade. You cannot eat it. It is a drain on humanity.
Yeah.
The fact that we give this things as gifts.
At least it looks pretty. What about the people who just get plants and just fill up a whole studio with it? What about
Shade.
that? Oh, shade.
Oxygen.
Those LEDs.
Oxygen.
Oxygen.
We think clearer because of these trees.
That's a good point, though. Like,
Also, a
girls,
very blurry background if we don't have something blocking it. Okay, if we want to get into the production of it. You know what I
Film
mean?
buffs.
yeah. But like, girls do want like the story. Honestly, if you want to make $1 billion, you open up a jewelry store, but you sell a product and a story with it. That's the trick.
Can you give an example?
Because like, you go to a jewelry store, you buy jewelry, you
What's
give
the
it to.
story of your shirt? Like can you tell us?
Life of pie right here.
This is a woman's shirt.
Okay.
There's buttons on the other side. Got out of the thrift store. I was like, yo, this is sick. Put it on. I was like, it's a woman's shirt. Kept rocking.
I mean, that's a big woman.
No, this was a teacher. Bro.
That's a catcher.
I don't even fill this out, bro. This is like my metric. If I can fill this out, that's when I know I made it.
Okay, no, break it down.
Because
the
think about
story
it.
and the product.
Because the girl wants to know you suffer to get it. You know what I mean? Like if you just bring her flowers, she's like, oh, that's nice. You know, you bring her like jewelry from the store, she's like, oh, it's pretty. But if you're like, I got this, it was the last one. I haggled with the guy. It was pouring rain. I ran home. I lost a foot, and now it's yours, and I brought it to you. I feel like they like it more.
Because if
There's
flowers,
suffering involved. There's a story
you
involved.
guys called effort. Remember when
Yeah,
you
yeah,
guys
yeah.
fucking bodied me on that? Where they
Effort,
think you-
exactly. So you
And
need
it's
to have a
like
store that gives guys the
maximum effort.
but they just tell you what to say for the effort.
Now,
So,
once
like,
girls know about this store, it's fucking over.
Yeah.
yeah, but it's on the inside. They don't know.
That's the thing. We got to block. We got to put something on the outside of that store that women would never like. Do you know what I mean? Like discount or like we have to put something on the outside that would make a girl never go
Yeah,
in. So some
clearance,
sort of like
Yeah.
blocking.
No, but I think the guy just sees, oh, it's a guy shopping alone. Boom.
Discount sporting goods.
Yeah.
Discount sporting
I'll
goods,
slide
yeah.
the card across the
Pokemon
table.
cards.
Hey, give this to your girl, and then also tell her this story, and she's gonna love it way more.
That's it. Yeah.
Nah, you're gonna have one simp that snitches and
And then it ruins his everything.
Just
ruins
deny
everything.
it, deny
But
it.
Yeah, one
he
guy
is
trying
right.
to break up a guy and his girl.
Yeah, you know he made that
hater-ass
shit
guy.
up.
Yeah.
He didn't even fight any animals to get it to you. Fucking
Adding
liar.
story though to anything, especially like product, is so valuable. You know what I mean? Like
You pointed that out as the end of Game of Thrones, where like the most powerful thing in the world is a story.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
you
yeah.
pointed that out how true that was, and I was like, yeah, fuck.
well, dude, think about it. Even your watch that you have on right now,
Yeah.
right? Omega Speedmaster.
Yes.
Like this is known as the Moon Watch.
Yes.
That watch has so much more value because it's tied to people landing on the fucking moon. How awesome and lucky are they? Like even the Corvette,
Yeah.
The Corvette is what you got if you're an astronaut.
Yes.
That's why the Corvette is this amazing car. Now, obviously, it has like, tons of horsepower for how affordable it is, and it's an American muscle car. Yeah. It's the astronaut car.
Yeah.
You came back, you get a fucking Corvette. I want to drive the thing that the people to go to space drive.
Yeah.
You know?
Brilliant marketing.
Attaching story. Hey, where are you going after you win the Super Bowl? Hey, where am I going?
Disney World.
I mean, that's maybe like a small word, but like attaching story to products. I know you were like being silly when you were saying that, but like you're 100% right.
Yeah.
I do think attaching that story
So
to the
think of the
product.
marketing guy who went to Chevy or whoever and was like, yo, we're going to give the astronauts Corvettes.
And
they're
you
like,
know what we're going to do? We're not going to put the Ford logo on it. Or the Chevy logo. The Chevy logo. It's going to have a Corvette logo. What's a Corvette logo? Oh, we're going to make one that makes it look like a race car. We'll have the fucking flags on it, right? Isn't that like, and that's a smart decision.
Yeah.
It's its own car, the Corvette.
Yeah.
Even though we know it's a Chevy.
I didn't know it was a Chevy.
There you go. Isn't that interesting?
I thought that was a different brand. That's
I mean,
crazy.
that is kind of cool. And I guess like we do that as well, like in our business, but like really like tying in story. What does this movie mean? What is this movie really about? Because stories are how, listen, the most potent books that exist to this day that have been here for thousands of years are what? They're all stories, right?
Yeah.
They're not a list of fucking things.
The Bible is a story.
A
True
bunch of
story,
stories, right?
Not
like
true story,
the
whatever.
best
it is, it's a
stories.
story. Yeah.
For some reason, we just attach ourselves to these fucking stories, man. Maybe it's how we organize the world. I mean, like even the most, I was watching like a Bill Clinton fucking interview, and like the way he answered the questions, every answer had a story. And I was like, man, like that is some fucking next level shit. Like not, here's my opinion. Well, let me tell you why. In 73, I remember there was a guy who came up to me outside of a gas station and he said this.
Yeah.
And it was like, I don't know. I remember like watching that and I get lost in it and there's always a great little payoff at the end. And it's like, wow, you kind of like stand up. It's like you rewarded the person for listening.
Yeah. And the most significant part is that you remember.
And you remember.
Like how long ago did you see that speech or whatever? Like, and you still remember. It's like your brain to survive is gonna attach itself to stories.
Dude,
Like,
I'm not
Why?
even-
Why? What is the biological?
I'm assuming just to survive. I don't know the answer, but I'm assuming like, okay, in order to survive, when someone tells me some information about the fucking world, about the planet, like, hey, don't eat those pigs because they got the devil in them and actually like the meat is fucked up.
And now I remember not to eat the pigs way better than someone just going, don't
But
eat
it's like
There's
pigs.
an emotional tie with it.
It's like the memory palaces. Like, have you ever heard someone do like a memory test or whatever?
What is that?
This is fascinating.
Like they'll do like, so they have like these memory world championships where people try to like memorize the number of like the order of cards in a deck, and like the world champion is able to memorize every card in order of like 60 decks on a table.
That guy Jim Quick, remember we had him on there? He was one of those guys.
And he's
Yeah.
like, okay, yeah, Jack of Spades, Ace, whatever, like, and able to go through all of them, 60 cards. And like the way that some people do it is they'll do memory palaces where they're like, okay, I walk in my house, I see the Jack of Spades in the corner, and the Jack is actually like a jester that's in the corner, and he's dancing. And then he on his shirt has a heart on his shirt, and it's this two of hearts. And then he's able to create a path in his brain out of a story.
Use an actual map that you're familiar with.
Exactly,
And then
yeah.
you attach these things that you want to memorize to the map.
Yeah, exactly.
And then for whatever reason, it like locks in that way. But you're creating a story. You're creating a story of you going through your home, I guess.
Yeah.
And maybe based on things you're already familiar with.
Yeah.
But
I'm assuming it's got to be survival. Like all those like old Jewish like Levitical laws and shit. Like, yo, don't eat this thing because it's bad. And it's like a story from God. God came down. He's like, yo, don't eat shellfish.
it's not because you're going to make you throw up. Right? It's because God came down and this is going to happen. You're going to get punished. Because that is, I always thought that was like raise the stakes so they really don't eat it. But maybe it's just make them remember not to eat it.
I think that's what it
Maybe a
feels
little
like.
combination of both.
Because it's like, what's a coincidence? It's like, it's not hard to think, don't eat a bottom feeder, right? Because you can't really track what's gone through its body from top to bottom. And then they put the story afterwards. They're like, and here you go. God said blah, 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 blah. And more content to read and discuss over and over again.
No, but I think it's just, it's much more digestible. Like, it is just a more digestible version of information, and then you get the same end result.
You bring up stand-ups. I'm not even saying it as a joke. You think about the stand-up who might have had the longest staying power prior, and Cosby.
Yeah.
And Cosby's all stories.
Shit, look at Bert,
Bert.
the machine. This is like an amazing story.
Yeah.
Yeah, the things that we attach ourselves to. There's got to be something biological,
Yeah.
right? It's just,
I think if you can just get people to play, you can play people's emotions, that's the most powerful thing.
And you even-
stories play the emotions.
yeah, I mean, you even look at like Chappelle, like as he's continued to like evolve, as a stand-up, like everything is almost wrapped into story.
Yeah,
You know,
fucking what's Bird Revelation, where he's at the Comedy Store and he talks about Iceberg Slim.
Yep.
That story, and then
Yep.
he does the Emmett Till thing in Equanimity. It's beautiful
Our
storytelling.
attention span increases for story.
Yeah.
We have a lower attention span for just like information, but information that's wrapped into story.
Yeah. It's also like, what else was there to do for most of human history?
Yeah,
what I
we didn't
mean?
have
Like-
TV. We didn't have
Yeah.
TikTok. We didn't have these things. We had stories. So our brains are built for them.
Sit around, eat food, tell stories. Yeah.
Interesting.
And I'm assuming there's got to be a survival component.
I mean, we still sit around and ingest stories just
Yeah.
through television and movies.
We just let other
we're
people
talking
do
about
it.
The Godfather. It's
Yeah.
just a story.
Yeah, of
it's a
course.
book. It's
Yeah.
a thing. Like,
But I'm
everything we're-
assuming that's the biological programming is from just sitting around a fire.
This is how powerful story is. Godfather is a book that's a story. Then they make a movie that's a story
And they're
about the
making a
book.
movie
and now
about
they're
the
making a
story of
story
making
about the
stuff.
making of the story of the making of the story. Like it's
And the podcast is reviewing the.
No, for me, and yeah, I'm sure we all feel this way, but like story is the thing that I'm most fascinated by. It's the thing that I'm most admire.
Yeah.
You know, like, I think that people who are great storytellers and these are like filmmakers, you know, like I think that is just such an incredible skill. And I think that you can fill the gaps with maybe less acting chops when you have an absolutely amazing, engaging story.
Yeah.
And those things are just few and far between.
Yeah.
Like there's a few storytellers out there that are just absolutely incredible. Like fucking Christopher Nolan, dude. Like Chris and Jonathan Nolan. Like they have a skill to tell stories, man. They get it. It's a fucking science to them. Or maybe it's more than just a science. Maybe it's not just, you know, numbers and shit. Maybe it's like for whatever reason they have this like emotional connectivity to it and they can just produce it. And it's a language that they speak. But like even that movie that came out with the time that was confusing as hell, like you got to be so good at telling stories to even try to mess up time. Like the whole thing about story is
It's linear.
It's linear. It's like that's the super flex. Like what if time wasn't linear? And
Which movie is that?
it's
Memento?
called
Tenet.
Tenet.
But he
Tenet.
did it well in Interstellar.
I mean,
he made us-
Interstellar was so incredible. But I just feel like it's like, what if you mastered story? How do you keep flexing? How do you keep pushing
Yeah.
to the next level? Like,
Let me just tell the story all wrong.
and see if that
Such
works.
a flex. Yeah, I'm so bored with storytelling. Let me try this.
Oh, man. Yeah. I'd love to just take class in that. Like,
But I don't know if they even have to be linear for the stories. Like that's an assumption because that's how we normally tell stories. But like if you look at like all those storytelling guides, like Dan Harmon's Story Circle,
Story Circle,
or, like
yeah,
all
yeah.
that shit, it's not necessarily linear.
yeah.
It's just like these beats happen in this order.
But it's still a payoff.
Yeah, exactly. But like that payoff can happen at the, like you can rearrange those pieces like anachronistically as long as those pieces all happen in that
I think
order.
Pulp Fiction is a good example.
Yeah, I was just going to say that.
because it wasn't linear, but I think that just the way that we consume things, it kind of makes sense to do it. So like you got to be very confident in your storytelling ability to mix and match.
I remember as a kid, I
Exactly.
did't understand what happened in Pulp Fiction. I was like, I don't.
You're like, what?
I'm such a linear thinker. I was like, I don't.
But you can now turn it on
What
at
the
any
fuck?
time and just
And
watch
it's-
it for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Count,
Yeah.
But for that reason, yeah, you have to be an absolute master in that space. Otherwise, it's like art house films can break that all the time. But for the general public, like I'm greenlighting these crazy budgets because we know on average people want this payoff, and that's just
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
Yo, you want to rip through feelings, no facts?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
And you know what's real quick? What's crazy about Pulp Fiction is the most dramatic scene is the middle of the story that they put at the end. The Samuel L. Jackson diner scene. I'm trying real hard to be the
Oh
shepherd.
yeah.
That's the climax of the movie, but it's not the climax of the story.
Yeah. Hold on one second. We'll just wrap up and then we can get into that. But yeah. That is. I didn't realize that was the fucking climax.
That's the
of
climax. It's just a
story.
random. It's the fucking scene at the diner, and Samuel L. Jackson makes his beautiful speech, but it's actually the middle of the story.
Yeah.
Because at the end, there's crazy shit that happens in the middle of the movie. It's like, oh fuck, that's sad.
Yeah.
But that's not the climax. The climax is this speech.
Yeah.
Same with that Ron White tater salad story. It's like it starts here, but then the payoff is back in time.
Yeah.
That then pays off in the present.
Yeah.
So yeah.